From imposing fortresses to romantic ruins, Scotland is world famous for its unique castles. They boast over 2,000 castles, each with its own unique story to tell. Let's quickly explore 25 of these beautiful castles in Scotland. Number 25. Lochranza Castle. This is a picturesque ruin located in Lochranza, a village on the Isle of Arran in Scotland. Positioned dramatically on the northern shore of Arran, the castle overlooks Lochranza and offers stunning views of the surrounding landscape. The castle is thought to have been built in the 13th century by the Maxwines, a clan of Norse Gaelic origins. Most of the current structure was built in the 16th century. Lochranza Castle served as a strategic stronghold, guarding the sea route between Scotland and Ireland. It was eventually captured by James IV of Scotland in the late 15th century, after which it fell into disuse and disrepair. Today, Lochranza Castle stands as a picturesque ruin, with only its outer walls and some remnants of its structures. Number 24. Lews Castle. Lews Castle is a Victorian-era castle located west of the town of Stornoway, Isle of Lewis. It stands as an impressive example of Scottish baronial architecture amidst the stunning landscapes of the island. It was built between 1847 and 1851 as a country house for Sir James Matheson, who had bought the whole island a few years previously with his fortune from the Chinese opium trade. It was designed by the Glasgow architect Charles Wilson. After Sir James Matheson's death, the castle changed ownership several times and underwent various uses. Number 23. Doune Castle. This is a well-preserved 14th century stronghold located near the village of Doune in central Scotland. It boasts an impressive history and has been featured in several popular films and television shows. It was a medieval stronghold, is renowned for its impressive architecture and rich history. Built in the late 14th century by Robert Stewart, Duke of Albany, Doune Castle served as a residence for various noble families over the centuries, including the Earls of Moray and the Duke of Albany. Doune Castle has been a popular filming location for movies and TV shows like Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Outlander, and Game of Thrones. The castle is surrounded by beautiful woodlands and offers scenic views of the area. Doune Castle is managed by Historic Environment Scotland and it is open to public. Number 22. Dunalastair Castle. Dunalastair is actually not a castle, but a ruined mansion dating to the mid-19th century, located on an estate in Perthshire. It's a popular destination for explorers due to its abandoned and overgrown state. Originally built in the 19th century, Dunalastair Castle was designed by renowned Scottish architect William Byrne for General MacDonald of St. Martin's. The castle was constructed in the Scottish baronial style, which was popular during that period for its romantic and picturesque appearance. Throughout its history, Dunalastair Castle has undergone various changes in ownership and has served different purposes, including being used as a private residence and a hotel. It has also been featured in literature, most notably in Sir Walter Scott's novel, The Fair Maid of Perth. Though often referred to as a castle, Dunalastair has no connection to the Clan Robertson, who resided in a house nearby until the 1850s. Number 21. Kilchurn Castle. Kilchurn Castle is a ruined structure on a rocky peninsula at the northeastern end of Loch Awe in Argyll and Bute. It was first constructed in the mid-15th century as the base of the Campbells of Glenorchy, who extended both the castle and their territory in the area over the next 150 years. After the Campbells became Earls of Breadalbane and moved to Taymouth Castle, Kilchurn fell out of use and was in ruins by 1770. It is now in the care of Historic Environment Scotland and is open to the public in summer. The castle comprised a 5-story tower house, with a courtyard defended by an outer wall. At the time, Kilchurn was on a small island scarcely larger than the castle itself, and would have been accessed via an underwater or low-lying causeway. Number 20. Aboyne Castle. Aboyne Castle is a 13th century castle located in Aberdeenshire, roughly 0.75 miles north of the town of Aboyne. The location itself was chosen strategically, being close to the River Dee and controlling the northern end of a passage through the Month Mountains. Originally constructed by the Bissets, lords of Strathdee and Aboyne, before 1233, as a motte and bailey castle, a simple earthwork fortification. In 1307, King Edward I of England even ordered its fortification. The castle was later converted into a stone keep. In the 17th century, Charles Gordon, 1st Earl of Aboyne, rebuilt the west wing as a tower house, parts of which are still visible today. Sadly, the extensive castle fell into disrepair and became derelict in the early 20th century. Thankfully, the present Marquess of Huntly undertook a restoration project in 1979, bringing Aboyne Castle back to a more stable condition. Today, Aboyne Castle remains a private residence, and while it is not generally open to the public. Number 19. Balvenie Castle. Balvenie Castle is a ruined castle located 1 kilometer north of Dufftown in the Moray region of Scotland. Originally known as Mortlach, it was built in the 12th century by a branch of the powerful Comyn family and was extended and altered in the 15th and 16th centuries. The castle fell out of use following an attack by Robert the Bruce in 1308, which left the property uninhabitable. It remained inhabited until the 18th century, after which it gradually fell into ruin. Today, Balvenie Castle is managed by Historic Environment Scotland and is open to the public as a historic site. Number 18. Inverness Castle. This castle sits on a cliff overlooking the River Ness in Inverness. There have been a series of castles on this site since 1057, though the current structure dates back to 1836. The castle is said to have been built by Malcolm III of Scotland. The first Inverness Castle was partially destroyed by King Robert I of Scotland in 1307, who razed its battlements to the ground. Originally built of timber, it was later reconstructed in stone during the 16th century. Over the centuries, it has served various purposes, including as a royal castle, a sheriff's courthouse, and a prison. The current iteration of Inverness Castle is not currently open to the public because it's undergoing a major refurbishment project. However, the Inverness Castle experience is expected to open in 2025. Number 17. Doune Castle. This is a historic castle located near Drumoak in Aberdeenshire. It is one of the oldest tower houses in Scotland, believed to be among the 3 oldest unaltered ones, with parts of the castle dating back to the 13th century. The castle is situated amidst picturesque countryside, with views of the River Dee and the surrounding hills. Originally constructed as a fortified tower house, Doune Castle has undergone numerous expansions and modifications over the centuries. It was the ancestral seat of the Irvine family for over 650 years, making it one of the longest continuously inhabited castles in Scotland by a single family. The castle features a mix of architectural styles, reflecting the various periods of construction and renovation it has undergone. It includes a 13th century tower, a Jacobean mansion, and Victorian additions. In addition to its architectural significance, Doune Castle boasts beautiful gardens and grounds, which are open to the public. Number 16. Fyvie Castle. This is a magnificent fortress located in the village of Fyvie, near Tuif in Aberdeenshire. With a history stretching back 800 years, it's a stunning example of Scottish baronial architecture and is renowned for its lavish interiors, ornate ceilings, and world-famous art collection. The earliest parts of Fyvie Castle date back to the 13th century, with some sources claiming it was built in 1211 by King William the Lion. It has been claimed that Fyvie was the site of an open-air court held by Robert the Bruce, and Charles I lived there as a child. Following the Battle of Audubon in 1390, it ceased to be a royal stronghold. Instead, it fell into the possession of 5 successive families: Preston, Meldrum, Seaton, Gordon, and Leith, each of whom added a new tower to the castle, resulting in its unique and picturesque appearance. Number 15. Castle Stalker. This is a 4-story tower house or keep in the Scottish county of Argyll. It is set on a tidal islet on Loch Lake, an inlet off Loch Linhey. It is about 1.5 kilometers northeast of Port Appin and is visible from the A828 road about midway between Oban and Glencoe. The islet is accessible with difficulty from the shore at low tide. The name Stalker comes from the Gaelic Stalker, meaning hunter or falconer. The Eilean Castle is one of the best preserved medieval tower houses to survive in western Scotland. It's believed to have been originally the site of a small fortified building belonging to the MacDougalls when they were Lords of Lorne, and built around 1320. The castle, in its present form, is believed to have been built by Sir John Stewart of Appin, an illegitimate son of the Lord of Lorne, around the mid-15th century. The castle is currently a private residence but is sometimes open to visitors in the summer. Tours are limited to 12 people a day and must be booked online ahead of time. Number 14. Slains Castle. Slains Castle is a historic ruined castle located near Cruden Bay in Aberdeenshire. Situated on a dramatic cliff overlooking the North Sea, it is known for its picturesque yet eerie atmosphere. The core of the castle is a 16th century tower house, built by the 9th Earl of Errol. Significant reconstruction of the castle has been carried out a number of times, lastly in 1837 when it was rebuilt as a Scots baronial mansion. At one time it had 3 extensive gardens but is now a roofless ruin. Plans to restore the castle have been on hold since 2009. Slains Castle is perhaps best known for its association with Bram Stoker, the author of Dracula. Stoker reportedly stayed in the area and drew inspiration from the castle's imposing presence and the surrounding landscape while writing his famous novel. The atmospheric setting of Slains Castle is said to have influenced his descriptions of Count Dracula's castle. Number 13. Lennox Castle. This is an abandoned castle located in Lennoxtown, East Dunbartonshire, roughly 12 miles north of Glasgow. It's notorious for its past as Lennox Castle Hospital, which was once Scotland's largest institution for people with learning disabilities. The castle itself was constructed between 1837 and 1841 by David Hamilton for John Lennox Kincaid on the Lennox of Woodhead estate. It replaced Kincaid House. In 1927, the castle and its surrounding land were purchased by the Glasgow Corporation and subsequently converted into a hospital for people with learning disabilities. The hospital opened its doors in 1936. The castle itself served as a nurse's home, while the grounds housed about 1,200 patients. The hospital closed in 2002. Number 12. Tantallon Castle. This is a ruined mid-14th century fortress, located 5 kilometers east of North Berwick, in East Lothian. It sits atop a promontory opposite the base rock, looking out onto the Firth of Forth. The last medieval curtain wall castle to be constructed in Scotland, Tantallon comprises a single wall blocking off the headland, with the other 3 sides naturally protected by sea cliffs. Tantallon was built in the mid-14th century by William Douglas, 1st Earl of Douglas. It was one of the major strongholds of the powerful Red Douglas dynasty, which often clashed with the Scottish crown. The castle was besieged by both James IV and James V but was ultimately destroyed by Oliver Cromwell's troops in a siege of 1651. Tantallon Castle is now maintained by Historic Environment Scotland. The ruins are open to the public and offer stunning views of the Firth of Forth and the base rock. Number 11. Blackness Castle. Blackness Castle is a 15th century fortress near the village of Blackness on the south shore of the Firth of Forth. It was built, probably on the site of an earlier fort, by Sir George Crichton in the 1440s. Due to its unique shape and location, it is often referred to as the ship that never sailed. The castle was originally built as a residence for the Crichton family, one of Scotland's most powerful families at the time. However, it soon became clear that the castle's true strength lay in its ability to withstand attack. The castle was heavily fortified in the 16th century, and it was used as a garrison fortress and a state prison. Blackness Castle has been featured in a number of films and television shows, including Hamlet, Outlander, and Outlaw King. The castle is now a popular tourist destination, and it is managed by Historic Environment Scotland. Number 10. Blair Castle. This is a grand estate house located near the village of Blair Athole in Perthshire. It's the ancestral home of Clan Murray and was historically the seat of their chief, the Duke of Athole, though the current Duke resides in South Africa. The Dukes of Athole hold the unique distinction of having their own private army, the Athole Highlanders. This historic regiment was formed in the 18th century and is still active today. The castle boasts a rich history, spanning over 7 centuries. Construction is believed to have begun in 1269. Over the course of its existence, it has witnessed its share of turbulent and peaceful times, and has been enlarged and adapted to suit the needs of the family and the architectural styles of the day. Blair Castle showcases a fascinating architectural blend. The foundation began as a medieval tower house, but over the centuries it was transformed into a fine Georgian mansion, and finally a Victorian castle in the baronial style. Number 9. Glamis Castle. This is a majestic and historic castle located near the village of Glamis in Angus. It has been the home of the Lion family, the Earls of Strathmore and Kinghorn, for over 650 years, and is partially open to the public. The thainage of Glamis was granted to Sir John Lyon by King Robert II in 1372. There was already a royal hunting lodge on the site at the time, but the castle we see today was built in the 1400s, with many alterations and additions over the centuries. Glamis Castle is said to be one of the inspirations for Shakespeare's Macbeth. It was also the childhood home of Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother and the birthplace of Princess Margaret. Glamis Castle is shrouded in a number of legends and stories. One famous tale is of a monster or secret prisoner, said to be immured in a hidden chamber in the castle. Another legend is that a ghost child haunts the halls, the spirit of a young boy who fell from a high tower to his death. Glamis Castle is open to the public from April to October. Tickets can be purchased in advance online or at the gate. The castle gardens are extensive and beautifully landscaped, with a variety of plants, flowers, and walking paths. There is also a tea room on site where you can enjoy refreshments. Number 8. Kelburn Castle. This is a historic castle located near Largs on the west coast of Scotland. It is the seat of the Earls of Glasgow and has been home to the Boyle family since the 13th century. It is one of the oldest castles in Scotland and continuously inhabited by the same family for longer than any other. The Boyle family has been in possession of the lands of Kelburn since the 12th century, and the castle is thought to have been built in the 13th century. What makes Kelburn Castle particularly notable is its unique exterior. In 2007, the exterior of the castle was given a remarkable makeover by a group of Brazilian graffiti artists. This collaboration resulted in vibrant and colorful graffiti art covering a portion of the castle's exterior walls, creating a striking and unconventional contrast with its traditional Scottish architecture. The graffiti art project at Kelburn Castle was initially intended to be temporary, but due to its popularity and the positive response from visitors, it has been allowed to remain. The artwork has become a significant attraction in its own right. Number 7. Urquhart Castle. Urquhart Castle is a ruined castle sitting majestically beside Loch Ness in the Highlands of Scotland. It's one of the largest castles in Scotland in terms of area and a popular tourist destination. The present ruins date back to the 13th to the 16th centuries, although there's evidence of an early medieval fortification on the site. Throughout its history, Urquhart Castle played a significant role in various conflicts, including the Wars of Scottish Independence and the Jacobite Risings. It was a royal castle for a period and was also raided on several occasions by the MacDonald Earls of Ross. The castle was given to the Clan Grant in 1509, but conflicts with the MacDonalds continued. In 1692, to prevent its use by Jacobite forces, the last of the government troops stationed there blew up the castle, leaving it in ruins. You can explore the ruins, climb the Grant Tower for stunning views of Loch Ness, and learn about the castle's dramatic history. Number 6. Dunnottar Castle. This is a ruined medieval fortress located upon a rocky headland on the northeastern coast of Scotland, about 2 miles south of Stonehaven. The surviving buildings are largely of the 15th and 16th centuries, but the site is believed to have been fortified in the early Middle Ages. Dunnottar has played a prominent role in the history of Scotland through to the 18th century Jacobite risings because of its strategic location and defensive strength. Dunnottar is best known as the place where the honours of Scotland, the Scottish crown jewels, were hidden from Oliver Cromwell's invading army in the 17th century. The property of the Keiths from the 14th century, and the seat of the Earl Marischal, Dunnottar declined after the last Earl forfeited his titles by taking part in the Jacobite Rebellion of 1715. The castle was restored in the 20th century and is now open to the public. The ruins of the castle are spread over 1.4 hectares, surrounded by steep cliffs that drop to the North Sea, 50 meters below. Number 5. Dunvegan Castle. This is the oldest continuously inhabited castle in Scotland, and has been the ancestral home of the chiefs of Clan MacLeod for over 800 years. The castle is located on a rocky outcrop overlooking Loch Dunvegan, a sea loch on the island's east coast. It was a fortified site from the earliest times. The castle was first built in the 13th century and developed piecemeal over the centuries. In the 19th century, the whole castle was remodeled in a mock-medieval style. The castle's history is long and colorful, and it has been involved in many of the major events in Scottish history. One of the most notable features of Dunvegan Castle is its fairy flag, a legendary relic said to possess magical properties. According to tradition, the fairy flag was gifted to the clan by fairies and has been associated with various myths and legends throughout the years. The castle is partially inhabited by the current clan chief, Hugh Magnus MacLeod, who is based in London. Number 4. Stirling Castle. This castle is one of Scotland's most historically significant and impressive castles. Located in Stirling, it sits atop a volcanic rock formation overlooking the River Forth. Due to its strategic location, it played a prominent role in Scottish history. The castle dates back at least as early as the 12th century, though there is evidence of a fortification on the site in even earlier times. Over the centuries, it has been expanded, fought over, and served as a royal residence for many Scottish monarchs. Palace Royal was built by James V in the 16th century, and it is a stunning example of Renaissance architecture. It was the childhood home of Mary, Queen of Scots. Today, castle is open to public and it is a popular tourist destination with stunning views of the surrounding area. It's a great place to learn about Scottish history and culture. Number 3. Balmoral Castle. Balmoral Castle is a large estate house in Aberdeenshire and a residence of the British royal family. Built in the Scottish baronial style, the castle is a Category A listed building, meaning it's deemed to be of national or international importance for its architectural or historical interest. The estate was purchased for Queen Victoria by Prince Albert in 1852, having been first leased in 1848. They weren't impressed with the original castle on the land and had a grander one built, which was completed in 1856. The old castle was demolished shortly thereafter. The Balmoral estate has been added to by successive members of the royal family and now covers an area of approximately 50,000 acres. It is a working estate, including grouse moors, forestry, and farmland, as well as managed herds of deer, Highland cattle, sheep, and ponies. While most of the Balmoral Castle interior is private, you can enjoy the grounds, which are open to the public from April to the end of July. There's also a gift shop and cafe on site. Number 2. Eilean Donan Castle. This is a picturesque castle located on a small island at the confluence of 3 sea inlets in the Western Highlands of Scotland. It's one of the most photographed castles in Scotland and a popular tourist destination. The name Eilean Donan translates to Island of Donan, likely named after Saint Donan of Aig, a 6th century Irish priest who established a Christian community here. The castle's history is long and colorful. The first castle on the site was built in the 13th century by King Alexander II to defend the area from Viking raiders. Over the centuries, the castle changed hands and was expanded and contracted several times. It played a role in the Jacobite rebellions of the 18th century, which ultimately led to its destruction in 1719. The castle we see today is a reconstruction project undertaken by Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae Gilstrap in the early 20th century. The McCrae family remains the owner of the castle. Today, the castle is a popular spot for weddings and filming locations. It has been featured in several films and television shows, including Highlander, The World Is Not Enough, and Maid of Honor. Number 1. Edinburgh Castle. Edinburgh Castle is a historic castle in Edinburgh. It stands on Castle Rock, which has been occupied by humans since at least the Iron Age. There has been a royal castle on the rock since at least the reign of Malcolm III in the 11th century, and the castle continued to be a royal residence until 1633. This castle is one of the most popular tourist attractions in Scotland. It is also an important historical site. It played a prominent role in Scottish history. The castle has been involved in many historical conflicts, from the Wars of Scottish Independence in the 14th century to the Jacobite Rising of 1745. The castle houses a number of important historical artifacts, including the Honours of Scotland, which is the Scottish crown jewels, Mons Meg, a large medieval cannon, and the National War Museum of Scotland. You can visit the castle, can take a guided tour, explore the castle grounds, and learn about the castle's history. Here comes the end of this journey. We hope you've enjoyed this video. If so, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world to us. Until next time, happy travels.